Welcome back everyone to another episode of my Grand Exchange only account. Now I locked my account to the Grand Exchange over 2 years ago, and even though we've already surpassed our original goal of hitting 1,000 total level in the area, we kept going and set a new goal of 1,500, not really knowing how long it was going to take, how challenging it was going to be. But now that we've almost hit the 2-year mark for this account, I think it's about time we try to figure out how in the hell are we going to wrap this account up. So right now we are at total level 1365, which means we have 135 more total levels to go, which doesn't sound too bad, but we are pretty restricted on what skills we can actually train. 5 skills we are locked out of completely, and others we only have access to very poor training methods. The agility skill being an excellent example. We're not going to get more than like 2k an hour. So without further ado, this is what I kind of envision my final stats looking like, but this is very much subject to change depending on how difficult each section ends up being. Now, one thing I've wanted to buy for a long time is actually a Smoldering Stone. I've kind of waffled on it for a while because it's nearly 5 mil, but because I think we're going to be doing a ton of wood cutting in the next couple of months, I think the Smoldering Stone will be worth it and just kind of an interesting way to train. We do already have 90 fire making, which means we can make the Infernal Axe no problem. So there we go, our new axe for, well, forever, I think. Now the great thing about this item is, although it was 5 mil to start with, the upkeep for it is dirt cheap because you can just simply sacrifice dragon axes, which are incredibly cheap to recharge it. And as we're chopping yew logs, it's really not going to deplete very quickly. So my goal with this Infernal Axe is I want to see if I can get an entire fire making level just with the passive effect. Gonna take a long time because I don't think you're getting more than 4 or 5k experience per hour in fire making, and we're pretty high level, but I want to see if we can do it. Alright, well, right off the bat, we get a dunce random event. That is awesome. We haven't been particularly lucky with these over the last couple of months, but there is another one. Now, once again, we've been chucking these in Hunter simply because that's what we've been doing for the last 2 years, and it's just more efficient to keep going on the same skill. Just like that, we have another total level 8 Hunter. Each one of these is saving us countless hours, I think. Well, we've been slacking a little bit in the tree runs, but finally we have another farming level coming in, 77 farming. Be pretty cool if I got the farming pet on this account. That would give me 2 skilling pets that I probably didn't deserve. Okay, so after quite a few hours of chopping yews, we finally are about to hit another woodcutting level. That's going to be 81 woodcutting. And I think that has gotten us about 7 or 8% of the way to our next fire making level, so not particularly quick. Now, I don't think we're going to get 99 woodcutting on this account, but I do expect us to probably get into the 90s or maybe around 90, which is going to give us a ton of passive fire making experience. Oh, okay, we almost missed it. There is 82 woodcutting, which has brought us up to 22% of our fire making level. Okay, countless hours later, and there is 83 fire making. Chopping yews is not particularly quick, but I think it is simply just the best option we have here. Okay, well, pretty much all of March I was simply just an arborist, planting trees, chopping them down. In between all the chopping, we are doing a bit of planting, which means there is another farming level. Each farming level right now is taking about a week on average. It kind of depends on how on top of planting the magic saplings I am, but there is 78. Well, after another 10 hours or so of AFK woodcutting, there is 84 woodcutting, which also has brought us up to 42% of the way to our fire making level. We're actually almost halfway, so I think this is actually a reasonable goal. We've also been banking a ton of yew logs, so even though the money per hour on yew trees is atrocious, you know, it's adding up over time. Now, one grind I've been working on for a long time now is the combat grind. The only monster I have that's viable to kill in my area now is the guard. Now I've decided the end game for combat is probably about 75 attack, strength, defense, and ranged, which we're gonna have to do exclusively at guards. So how many guards do I need to kill? Well, I've calculated roughly around 50,000 to finish up the account for combat anyway. How many are we at now? Well, roughly around 15,000. Here's my current loot tracker for guard kills, which means we're roughly around 1/3 of the way there. So we still have a lot of guards to go. Okay, we just hit a very important level. We've been using this obsidian armor set for a long time, but we just finally hit level 70 attack, which means we can now upgrade to the Abyssal Whip. That is going to be a pretty solid DPS upgrade and probably is going to be the weapon I'm going to be using for the rest of this grind. So I think we can safely sell off our Berserker necklace and our obsidian weapon and go ahead and purchase an Abyssal Whip. Now the plan for the whip is simply to train on shared. Because I need all of the melee combats leveled up equally, I think it's just going to be the way to go. That way I can get some strength experience as well. But we finally have the Abyssal Whip. Now because I realize we have still to do about 35,000 guard kills, I think we still need to find a way to make some money in between. Many of my remaining skills are going to be quite costly, such as prayer, construction, herb lore, and a few others. And I think the best way to make some money in pretty much 0 time is going to be repairing Barrows items. Now because I was able to level up my smithing via the superheat spell, I'm actually able to fairly efficiently repair Barrows items in my POH. So for example, here we have some Guthan's chain skirts. We're going to go back to my POH, repair them, and sell them for a profit. Usually I can get around a 50k profit per item, which means here we're making about 500k. Not bad. We're starting with about 10 mil, and I just want to see how far we can grow our cash stack while we are training other things. So we started at 10 mil, and after around a week of Barrows repair, we are now up to 21 mil, all with a pretty well 0 time investment. There we go, it finally happened. 85 woodcutting, quite a nice milestone, been in the works for a long time, but there we go, that is finally done with. Now I know I'm definitely going to need more than just 20 mil, so I've been trying to keep up with my Barrows repairing. Hopefully I didn't buy too many Varrock's helms, but it should be fine. So after many more saplings, there is another farming level, 79. This has actually been a bit of a slow money drain that I've been trying to fight. Every day it's costing me about 200 or 300k just in sapling costs, so it kind of adds up over time. So with that defense level, we've hit well, I wouldn't really call it a milestone, but we've hit 1,380 total, which means only 120 left. So I've been trying to keep pretty consistent with my offers in the Grand Exchange for Barrows items, and it has paid off because after claiming this, we are up to 29 mil. Not to mention our stack of over 7,000 U-logs in the bank. That has some value as well, but I'm trying to make it to 10,000 before I sell. So what exactly am I going to do with this money? Well, there's a few different places to put it. Now, I think a reasonable place to invest this is actually into prayer. Prayer is really expensive, but it is one of my lower buyable skills, which means it is still cheaper than trading herblore, for example. So I'm actually going to go ahead and invest into some wyvern bones. We're going to buy around 3,000 of them. I guess we'll have to wait for those to buy, actually. Okay, so there we go, they finally come through. We also went ahead and picked up some Marintils as well because I'm kind of an Ironman myself. Not really. And I actually have to bring those with me to light my gilded altar. So we need a tinderbox, some house teleport tablets, 2 Marintils, and an inventory of bones. It's really not that much slower than conventional prayer training, but it does take a little bit more work. But thankfully we do have a gilded altar, which means we don't have to bury them in the ground like we used to have to. So prayer is now like 3 times cheaper. There we go, first level coming in, 76 prayer. We're getting around 260k per hour, but I'm not really paying attention. Focusing, we can get about 300k. It is pretty expensive though, we'd have to invest like 80 or 90 mil, I think, to get 99 prayer, so I'm not sure if I'm gonna go for that, but it would be pretty quick. There we go, another level coming in, 77 prayer. I think we've unlocked pretty much the entire prayer book now. There we go, another level coming in, 78. Okay, I kind of missed it, but there was 79. All right, so after a few hours, this is gonna be my final inventory. There is 80 prayer. So around an 8 mil investment for 5 levels, I think that's a pretty worthy investment. The plan is to maybe go till 90, but hopefully I don't need more than that because it's very expensive. So now that we are reaching truly the end game for this account, we're gonna have to do a large variety of different content to try to wrap this up. And although I do have a loose map on how I want to reach 1500, that very well may change based on, how annoying certain skills are. For example, we just did a bit of thieving here, got a thieving level, and although thieving is reasonably quick, I'm not sure how many levels I'm gonna do just thieving from guards, while clicking for not a lot of reward. So I've been training on shared for a long time now. In this episode, I think we've gotten about 4,000 or 5,000 guard kills under our belt, which took I think around 12 hours more or less. But it has paid off with 71 attack. Well, there's also another defense level. 63 defense is done with as well, bringing us up to 1,388 total. Very close now to 1,400, which will pretty much be our final milestone until we're done. Now, before I go here, I want to give a giant thank you to all of my members over on YouTube. Thank you so much to March3258, who just joined the Dragon tier, joining the Hybrid, Alejandra, and Kush Patel. Thank you guys so much, really appreciate it. Also, thank you to YoYoSub89, Carter, Mexos, and NDM001 for subscribing at the Runite tier. Again, thank you so much. As always, if you're looking for a way to support the channel directly, YouTube membership is a great way to do so. Get immortalized in all of my future videos, and get a custom role in my Discord server. Thanks again, and I will see you next time.